Good morning, and thank you to everybody and to the organization. My name is Jorge Cancela, and I come here to represent this organization, which is an organization in Lisbon. And I myself am a mixed creature between rural origins and city work, like many of my generation. And what we try to do is maybe link these two realities, is to bring some of the functions of the rural world to the city and some of the logics of work of the city to the countryside. In this work, in this association, what we're trying to do is to bring some of the rural agricultural ideas to the country, to the city. We will be working as a team here for this 9 minutes, and I thank you already, Penny, for this. Okay, yesterday Professor Boaventura Santos was saying that even if we are battling small wars, we cannot forget that the enemy is the big one. So this is our mission in this war. A thing that we call civic ecology, and for us civic ecology is it's not our term, it's a term that is worldwide now, but means for us it's the human and social development through environmental work in local communities. This human aspect is very important because we believe that all revolutions begin with inside revolution. And after that, the social revolution comes. We do this in a kind of these ethics that might of you already might know the term of the permaculture. We use this also in a kind of a social activities, what we call the social permaculture. And we use these three main ethics: care for the earth, care for the people, and share the surplus. And surplus can be everything, can be information, can be energy, can be time, can be land, can be egos, can be transformation of something. So we are not advocating growth, we are advocating change and exchange. I will not spend too much time on this. These are the three ethics: care for the earth, care for the people, and fair share, divided in the principles of action. And these principles of action were basically designed first for those permaculture activities that in the beginning was permanent agriculture, then was transformed in permanent culture, and now is a system of designing resilient communities. Okay, so briefly, everybody knows where Portugal is, Lisbon. Then Alta de Lisboa, which is uptown Lisbon, is over there near the airport. It's an area, roughly 5% of the area of the city, is where where I live and we develop our actions. It used to be an area of farms, what we call quintas, small farms, because like our southern cities, agriculture and the city were always interact. We tend to forget, our planners tend to forget that, but always were near. But in this area, people that came from the interior of Portugal in the 60s, they settled first in another area, and that first area there was a bridge that was going to be constructed, and then this was a resettlement from the first settlement of the rural people that came to Lisbon. And because this area was open field, it was those farms, they came here. And in the 90s, that was thought as not a very good image. It was then tended to be a poor area with problems. And they decided to do a modern Lisbon over there, with a plan, which is basically not a urban, which is basically not a urban plan, but a business plan. So this is a public-private partnership, one of the biggest and one of the first in urban planning. And the idea is the municipality didn't have the money to eradicate the social area, and so that gave that function to privates, that the privates will eradicate the former initial neighborhood and construct buildings with the money of the privates. And privates, to gain money from that, the municipality gave them land to build areas for people like myself that decide to go living there. So for this business plan to be possible, the area must be very big. So we are talking of 300 hectares and a population of 60,000 people. And this was when the people thought that the market, the housing market, will go on forever. No one expected that the market was going down. So this was the image of the communities there, the kind of what we call aldeia, of a small village, and this is what is now. So this is the transformation. I don't know why they call this social housing, because for all of us, since it's much more social, the first design. So this is social housing, but neighborhoods is still poor. In here you can find guns. Here you can buy drugs. Most of this building, which is one in thousand, well, not in thousand, sorry, in hundreds of buildings like this. Can you see the overall idea of the neighborhood is like this, very similar, not to create differences between people with money and people without money, but the differences are there and people do not mix except in this urban park. This urban park is the place where people really mix, not in the constructions. Then a group of citizens, we gather together and decide to provide and to kind of respect also the memory of the site and create agricultural area. We began as an informal group of citizens, but then we had to move to a formal movement, because every time that we want to speak with someone, they say, but who are you? Well, a group of citizens. We don't care. You are an association, you are what? And this was so common that we had to transform ourselves in an association. Only and mainly because one thing, we had to have a fiscal number in order to be someone. Then but we also use that in our favor. Then we begin to go to tenders to ask for support, and then they gave us because we had a fiscal number. So it's okay, we were on the formal economy, perfect. So we invited this lady, Major Carter, some of you might know. It was very important for us, gave us a very broad idea, and helped us to think globally and act locally. And now, very briefly, these are something that we have done. We have done small orchards in schools, like many groups. We have involved citizens that live there in doing their own green spaces from an ecological point of view. We have been involved in intergenerational projects. And now 2 minutes for a story. And that will be very quick. We still have lots of informal agricultural areas. These informal agricultural areas tend to be near the roads, where no man's land, so there's no property. There are property rights, but they are not assumed so clearly. And it's mainly immigrants that make their immigrants mainly from Cape Verde that do their work here. We work very... Sorry. They work here and they try to translate their own food here. So the corn, beans, it's here. But they need to have water. And how do they do this? All this is informal and not legal, let's say. So there's one point of water, only one, in a backyard of office that repairs cars, and everybody goes there and use the water. So as more and more people comes to have their own vegetable plots, the further away is the area from the point of the water. So how do people solve that? Very easily. They don't buy each a tube, what you call hose. No, they just buy the extension of their site. And they use this very clever thing, this union, to make a very big hose from the very small ones. But what's in here is not only that cooperation, that physically cooperation history, is the non-written rules that are on this. Because if you were the first, then you have the normal hours. You go irrigate your plot by 9 o'clock. And if you were the first, you go by 8:30. If I was the last one, I have to be irrigating by 4 o'clock in the morning. Because I have to respect the law that who did the first is privileged in terms of time. It's interesting, isn't it? So you occupy a little bit more, but you respect the others that are already there. And if you don't show for 2 or 3 days, the guy next to you goes to your house asking, what's happening? You didn't went to your vegetable garden today. Are you ill? Are you sick? Do you need something that I do? So it's a lot of unwritten rules, no formal document, nothing, but it works. I think it's very interesting for us maybe to learn more from these informal movements. Okay, now then we decide to create an agricultural park. That's the process we are doing now, and as promised, this is the way that we began with a small group. Now it's a very big group. Our meetings always begin with one point: is compliments. We always compliment each other prior to discussing something. It's a thing that we like very much, is to know each other. How are you? How are your kids? It might be stupid, but it's our tradition, so we kept it. So meetings tend to be long because of this. But it's a way of building community. We tend to think sometimes of ourselves as Sarah Parkin author said, as positive deviants. So we do believe that we are doing the right thing, sometimes in the wrong institutional way and with the wrong process, and sometimes very incooperative people. But we try to go through our process. And okay, this is one thing that we have achieved without public money. The money that we could raise ourselves from tenders or something, is the vegetable gardens for disabled people, because we, in this kind of putting everyone together, we found that if you are very old or if you are disabled, you could not do the agriculture. So we identify this problem. We make a plan and sketches. We presented this to foundations that have lots of money in Portugal, the Gulbenkian Foundation and the Energy Foundation, and they said, well, it's interesting. They gave us some money. With the rest, we arranged ourselves, and we built this, which is now the first disabled vegetable garden in Lisbon, or maybe Portugal. And okay, this is also important. In the neighborhood, this is organization, but there's lots of others organization. And we organized this clip, like a paper clip, in order to put everyone together and to create kind of a group that shares information between groups, and also as together, as clip, acts as a lobbying group for the place. And to finally, this is also one thing that we read somewhere and we believe. The easy projects are done. By training, I'm a landscape architect, and this was in a conference of landscape architects. I said, the easy projects are done. Now they are going to be difficult. They're not to be greenfields, not to be parks or something. They're all going to be in town, complicated and are going to have political action attached to them, which is very interesting because most of us technical guys, agricultural guys or something, we didn't knew that we're doing political action when we're doing this. Now we know, and because of also this conference, we became more informed about that. Thank you very much.